How's it going out there, YouTube land and subsequent social media lands? Welcome to an all-new video. In this video, we're going to be reviewing a new film that just got released on Hulu on October 7th, and is a reboot of a 1987 film, so we're going to get right into this. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this video and the other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rizzle, all those great places. I pretty much post on a regular basis. So, like I always say, let's get right into this! Welcome one and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're going to be reviewing a new film that just got released on Hulu back in October 7th, and is a reboot remake of a 1987 classic called Hellraiser. Yeah, Hellraiser. Yeah. So the Hellraiser remake reboot came out October 7th, like I said, on Hulu. Is directed by a gentleman that goes by the name of David Bruckner. That's right, David Bruckner. Yeah, David Bruckner. So David Bruckner, he's directed a few other films. He did a 2016 film called Siren. He did a short segment in VHS. I forget what it's like the second or third VHS trilogy they came out with, and he did one of the segments in it. He also has directed a few other things, has been co-executive producer and writer on a few things, but nothing really big. I mean, this is probably his biggest thing he's directed to date, and everything else he's kind of like co-directed and co-written with people and so forth. But one thing about this guy is he's got a pretty good eye for what he does with directing, and I thought he did a pretty decent job. And I feel that there was a lot more he could have done, but I thought he did a pretty, decent and, a not the worst job, but he did a, pretty decent job. Now, another film he directed, and I watched the trailer for this, and it looks like a pretty decent film. I actually have not seen it. I actually haven't seen any of his other work. And from what I saw in the trailer, this movie looked like it might be pretty decent and a good horror flick. And that, of course, is a film called The Night House. Yeah, The Night House. Yeah. So The Night House, like I said, is like a horror thriller film, basically about a woman that has just been recently lost her husband, and the house they live in was a house built by her husband, but there's a deep secret to this house, and basically she starts to find out about it after her husband has died. And from what the trailer looked like, it looks pretty good. It looks like it's going to be interesting. Definitely looks like it's very creepy, and at the same time still very horrific, and definitely a decent type of thriller film that'll keep you guessing until the end. And that's pretty much what I got and took from the trailer from it. But from my understanding and what I read, this film actually is probably one of the first films that really got Bruckner out there and made a lot of people think that he was a good director and that he had a great indie filmmaker type of vibe and all that kind of stuff. So I think that this film really shows kind of what David Bruckner's about. If you haven't seen The Night House, definitely check it out. I heard it's pretty decent and pretty interesting. But like I was saying, I thought he did a decent job with Hellraiser. I feel that it definitely was a little too long. I thought that there was a lot of gaps that were just really unnecessary throughout the film. And overall, I just thought he could have condensed it and made it a little bit more, just a little better, I felt. But overall, I thought that David did a good job with it, and a pretty decent job as well. If you haven't seen anything David Bruckner has directed, definitely check out the new Hellraiser on Hulu. He did a pretty decent job with it. So this movie has a, very interesting cast. Not a lot of known people. They've done a few things here over the last couple of years. A lot of TV shows and stuff like that. And only really one of them really stood out to me in this entire film, and I'm going to talk about her. And that, of course, is kind of the main, character herself, the one that really is the main, winner of the film, main, survivor. And that, of course, is the character and actress known as Odessa A'zion. Yeah, Odessa A'zion. Yeah. So Odessa, I think, is a pretty decent actress. From what I saw of her in this, I thought she did a really good job. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely think that she has a lot of potential and is pretty good, and you felt like she was really dealing with what was happening in this film, and felt, she has pretty good acting chops, and she's learned, of course, from her, acting parents, who you might recognize actually her mother. Her mother is a comedian that has been in a lot of different things over the years. She had a show on FXX that is currently, I think, still airing and is in its final season, I believe. And she actually has a lot of that same like timing and acting like her mom does, and I think she does a pretty decent job. Now, another film she was in that I haven't unfortunately seen, I haven't seen anything she's in, but I have heard a lot of good things about this film. It's got a great cast. Jason Mutasic is in it, and other great actors and actresses, and was directed by a great director too as well. And that film is called Conception. Yeah, Conception. So this movie is like a comedy, rom-com type of deal, and after watching the trailer, this movie looks like it's really funny and super awesome. Like I said, it has a great cast. I mean, Jason Mutasic in it, hands alone, is key for me to watch this film because he is absolutely freaking hilarious. You might recognize him, of course, as Rafi from The League. You might recognize him from a few other things over the years. He was in The House recently. He was in the Dumb Road Trip, it was called, with Tony Rivoli. And he's just an awesome, freaking funny actor. He was in Brooklyn 999. But this film looks really fun, and Odessa actually plays one of the character's daughters in the film. And what I saw in the trailer, she was barely in the trailer, but she did have a few seconds of airtime in the trailer, and she looked like she did a pretty decent job. And from what this film looks like, it looks like it's a pretty fun film too. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking out and see what Odessa does in this film. But if you haven't seen anything else Odessa has seen, definitely go check out Conception. It came out, I think, in 2011. Check it out and see what you think of what Odessa did in that film. But like I said, I really enjoyed Odessa in Hellraiser. I thought she was really phenomenal. I really enjoyed her, and I felt that she really over-encompassed all the other people in this film. I thought she was definitely the best person out of this entire film, and I really enjoyed her and thought that, you know, she did a pretty decent job. If you haven't seen Odessa anything, definitely check out. In Hellraiser, she did a pretty decent job. So the last person I'd like to talk about that was in this film is none other than Pinhead himself, and that is played by the actress known as Jamie Clayton. Yeah, Jamie Clayton, yeah. So Jamie Clayton, she's done quite a few things over the years. A lot of TV shows, like I said, has done a few other films. I have not seen her in anything, but I do know that she is known for being in the, basically the offshoot of the L Word TV series called L Word Generations, or Q Generations as it's called. And that's one of the things she's really known for being in. And like I said, I haven't seen any of these or anything in it, but from what I saw from the trailer for L Word Generation Q, I thought it looked like she did a pretty decent job. Like, she brought some interesting vibes to it, great dramatic elements and stuff like that, and definitely, you know, gave some interesting, you know, vibes to bring together that whole performance and to, you know, be a part of that TV series. Not really my cup of tea, but at the same time, it looked like it was pretty decent performance. If you haven't seen anything Jamie Clayton's been in, definitely check out the L Word Q Generation. I've heard she did a really good job in the series. But overall, her performance as Pinhead, I wasn't overly impressed by it. I didn't think it was anything great. She definitely got a lot more screen time than Doug Bradley did in the original Hellraiser series. But overall, I thought that it was pretty basic and nothing really special. I mean, I know Pinhead's supposed to be kind of, you know, not a very, like, movable character, like a lot of motion and stuff like that, but at the same time, I feel there was really no emotion to it, and really not a great performance. I mean, basically walking around and saying a few words throughout the whole entire film. I just didn't feel it was anything great, like anybody could have played this character. I just think that it really was anything. I still think that Doug Bradley, throughout his generations of doing the character, it showed a lot more emotion, a lot more depth to this character than this. And even though this is her first outing as the character, still I feel that she could have put more into the character and given us a little better Pinhead. And I thought another interesting thing is, throughout the whole entire film, and even in, like, if you were to look it up in Wikipedia, IMDb, and stuff like that, it never refers to her as actually Pinhead. It refers to her as the Hell Priest, which, from my understanding, is what, you know, Pinhead was called in the first, you know, Hellraiser back in '87. But at the same time, he still was referenced as Pinhead. But she never got connected to Pinhead, I feel, throughout this whole entire film, which I thought was kind of interesting. I know if I missed something, let me know down in the comments, but that's something I didn't notice. But overall, okay performance, not the best, not the greatest, definitely could have been better, but overall, not too bad of a Pinhead character. If you haven't seen Jamie Clayton anything, definitely check out in Hellraiser, check out her Pinhead performance, and tell me what you think of what she did. So what is Hellraiser 2022 about? Basically, the premise of the film is Odessa Aizion's character is a drug addict, drunk type of person that is trying to get her life back together, and she basically comes across this box called the puzzle box. And basically, when she comes across it, it starts to turn her whole world upside down and cause this crazy interdimensional beings to come and want to take souls, and it's up to her to try to figure out what to do and to save the day. Basically the same premise as the original Hellraiser, with a few differences, but overall, not too bad of a film. Not my favorite, not the greatest, but definitely it was interesting and entertaining, and had some really great special effects and some really interesting characterizations of the cenobites in this film as well, that I thought was nice to see and to differentiate from the original Hellraiser film. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go check it out on Hulu now. Worth a watch. Interesting film. Not the greatest, not the best, but overall, an okay film. I give this one a 5 out of 10 Golden Movie Boxes up. That's pretty much my assessment of it, and it'll be interesting to see where they go from this, if they do another sequel, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it in the future. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, also thank you for subscribing. If this is your first time here, or you've been here before, don't forget to check out any older new videos I might have done. And always, people, if you enjoy my content and want to show support for the channel, definitely check out my links down below, either for my Patreon page, where once you become a part of my Patreon, become a member of my Patreon, you get all kinds of extra accoutrement you don't get to see on my channel, from outtakes, bloopers, suggestions on what I do next, monthly movie review that I do just for you, all that kind of cool stuff, so definitely check that out. And as always, people, if you're a horror movie fan, especially since this is a horror film, definitely check out the Horror Pack link, where you can get great horror films to your door every month for a great low price, so definitely check that out. As always, people, catch you next one.